Welcome everybody to the Choey and Jandler's The Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour. Welcoming our guests. Welcome, Newman.
Welcome, Jandler. Thanks for having me on.
Now you pop it.
There we go.
Wait, real quick before we lean into your stuff, just so you know, right now, obviously Choey's a delicate princess. It's a little too early for him. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I can edit those 10 seconds or
Yeah.
whatever. We'll just say you went on a profanity rant that we had to
we had to beep it out. Newman goes postal occasionally.
Exactly. Now, what I say is, Choey's he's married. He's got kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, what I'm gonna end up doing is playing this back with him, and then I'll get his reaction. I'll record his reactions to whatever you and I say. But I did want to say, you're our first guest. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Not just talk to you, but talk to somebody besides me and him. It's nice getting new input. But you're not only you're our first guest, you're our first international guest.
Well,
right?
high pressure.
All the way from South Korea, and you're our first person I've done this through, like remote.
Remotely,
I've always been in person. We've always been in person when we've been recording, so there's a lot of newness going on here. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And then the last thing I would say before I turn it over and listen to all of Newman's tales, because you were saying just before we kind of started, you and I have both been under the weather lately, dude. My stomach started bothering me Tuesday. Like, do you know what BMC is?
No, go on.
Like behavior management, like class.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, yes. Isn't that it's SEL kind of similar?
Yeah. Well, social emotional learning. Yeah, but like BMC, like the kids that may have some, emotional issues, and they might need like a room where they're like where they're throwing stuff. Maybe they get a little violent, So that's how they express themselves. Anyway, their room is right next to my classroom, and for the last couple of days, it feels like they've been throwing a party in my stomach where just stuff's going everywhere, and I'm just like, it's like it's been killer. So, actually, I was off yesterday because I had a doctor's appointment anyway, but I missed the last 2 days of school because I just didn't feel good.
So, I almost didn't go in just because I was like too damn tired. No, I do. But no, I think it's allergies, but I keep saying, never know. I might need another week off for COVID.
What are your hours for you up there when you work?
We have to show up by 8, so we're 8 to 5. So it's like, oh wow, you get to go in at 8, but yeah, we do have to stay till 5.
Like 8 in the evening or 8 in the morning?
8 in the morning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so your schedule has kind of changed since I talked to you, because I thought you were like a.
Oh yeah, I used to do that years ago. I got one little anecdote about that from a couple years ago. No, 8 in the morning to 5 p.m.
All right, that's
dealing with these older monsters.
That's not Newman's favorite schedule.
It is definitely not Newman's favorite schedule, but you know what? It pays Newman's bills.
Well, that's
so he figures out a way to peel it out.
And now it's time for News with Newman. All right, Newman. I turn it over to you. I know you were trying to. You were telling me a story the other day, or you messaged me a story the other day, and I was like, save it. I was like, save it. I want natural reactions. So I actually didn't really read it. I glanced at it.
Okay, good. Now, so Jandler, you work with elementary kids, and that comes with its own joys and tribulations.
Oh yeah.
I work with middle school and kind of turning into high school. The teens between 6 to 9 right now.
6th grade to 9th grade, right?
6th grade to 9th grade, yes.
Okay.
And so I was doing a lesson recently. It's about that time of the year in health class.
Oh. I hope it just with the whole, was it boys and girls or just boys?
Oh, it was boys and girls in this particular one. Now in 6th grade they don't get it too much. 5th grade is when they have to go through all the truly embarrassing anatomy lesson. But this was 6th grade one. The curriculum they use from Canada, it's more boundaries and just consent. Very good, fine lessons. And so I was trying to explain, because the word boundary, they good enough in English where they understand what the word boundary means in terms of like a country boundary. But I was like, well, it can mean, different things. So we kind of defined in a personal sense where I don't like it, but maybe somebody else doesn't mind it. And I'm asking a couple random kids. I'm like, hey, what's something you don't like? Oh, I don't like when people are too loud sitting next to me. I don't like when somebody touches my hair. And so I was like, Dennis, not even his English name, but we'll go with Dennis. Do you have a boundary? This boy looks at me. Goes,
bleep it out if you have to.
Teabagging. and we just have a death stare for about 2 seconds. And I was like, oh. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and so he has to explain himself. And he's like, well, Mr. Newman, when if you die in a game, because League of Legends, Fortnite, they're all still pretty good. And then boy Dennis decides to stand up, do a half squat, and starts shimmying. He's like, and they dance over your head like this. Thank God this is the end of class, because I had to keep a straight face.
Newman, Ian Tiger's looking for you.
I want to laugh right there for a second. Now, a week later, similar situation. I was walking by. I was getting a cup of coffee because Newman lives off coffee. I don't have a BAC. I have a BCC.
Yeah, I got you.
Blood coffee content. And one of our teachers, one of the children of one of our teachers, Edgar here, they're building something in their STEM class, and they're designing some 3D print for the bean in Chicago. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've been there. His family's from Chicago too. He's like, oh, you've been there? I was like, oh yeah, it's awesome. He's like, did you flick it?
That's right.
And I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, lots of people like to flick the bean.
Did he smirk?
Oh, he smirked. He smirked. Hey, I don't. I think he knows it's inappropriate. I don't entirely know if he, as a boy, entirely understands what he's saying, but he knows.
You're like, where'd you learn your English? George Carlin?
Oh no, he's American. He's a teacher's kid.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't. At least like I did summer camp. I think one of the last years I was up in Illinois before I came down, and I used to talk because I did sixth grade, that sixth grade group, and I was talking to one teacher who's doing second grade, and we were talking about some of the stuff kids did and how we were both kind of frustrated at each group, and I can't remember exactly what each one of them did, but I remember the second grade counselor was kind of like, she's like, what's frustrating is these kids do it and they don't know any better. And I told her, I was like, well, what frustrates me more is that my kids do it and they do know they do know better. And I was like, my second graders will say, if they said something like that, I would laugh, but I'm pretty sure they would be like, what? Right? They wouldn't know what they were doing. Although there's been some highly inappropriate stuff with second grade. They watch too much TV, parents. I mean, it's like somebody needs to censor some of this stuff. Get them on Sesame Street or whatever.
Yeah. Get them off TikTok, please.
Yeah,
do you guys have any of the TikTok challenge, or is it, you guys are too young for that?
Well, I mean, I tell them I don't want them on TikTok. Like,
we're anti TikTok as much as possible, of course, as all educators should be. But
no, I mean we haven't been hit with TikTok challenges as far as I know. Like, at least I haven't. But I know that, like I was gonna say, is that 2020, 2021 school year, like when COVID hit, we had half my kids were in person and half virtual. Was it kind of like that for you, or?
Well, I was here and then I was back in the States for a while for part of it. So here, when it hit, we went straight to Zoom, and then actually we came back in person a lot quicker, but like they plexiglassed everything. We were all in our own little, basically, like it was Bubble Boy.
Yeah, we had plexiglass too, and I had to spray that thing down as much as possible. But anyway, that year, I guess on Netflix, Squid Games had come out.
Oh God, yes, Squid Games is. I got some horror stories there.
Playing red light, green light, like at recess. And you think like it's innocent. Oh, it's red light, green light. And they're like, you're dead. And they're like shooting people. And I'm just like with their hands. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't kill people. You can say they're out. But it's like, we don't. But they're like, why? We saw it on Netflix. And I was like, I got a lot of kids that didn't know who Pennywise is. And I'm like, you're barely 8 years old.
Yeah. Being in the country that Squid Game originated, it was quite popular here as well. So you would have, I did, last year, I was upper elementary, it was like 6th grade again. But I had to do some like long-term subbing for one class in 2nd grade. And everyone, and see, I just talked about the perils of middle school angst and nonsense, but I'll take it any day over the 2nd grade nonsense. So you had everyone trying to, all the 2nd graders, of course, reenacting Squid Game. I'm like, how in the heck are y'all watching this? Then we had a little boy decided that his mooning was his favorite activity in the middle of class. And I'm just like, give me Teabag Boy any day of the week.
Yeah. I told Choey on one of our episodes, I had this one boy hit another boy. Like, actually, I think it was that year. And I messaged his mom. Actually, it was the year before. It was the year that COVID hit, but early in that year. And he hit this other boy, and I messaged his mom, and I was like, hey, I had to write in this folder because he hands on, blah, blah, blah. And she replied back. She's like, yeah, I talked to him. He only did it because someone made fun of him for picking his nose. And I told Choey, I was like, and I wanted to tell that mom, well, that should be the clue not to pick your nose. I was like, she justified it. And I was like, you serious? And about a week later, they pulled him. This kid was homeschooled his whole life, right? Until that year. And he was a sheltered kid because he was the only kid. And they didn't like that I was disciplining him when he was acting up like that. Like, I was like, you just can't go around hitting people. You can't. Like, there's like times he would pick his nose and put the booger on his finger and try and touch people with it. So obviously, they're not going to like that, And he...
Look in the mirror, buddy. Maybe it's you.
But I forgot to mention. I think because there was like a stomach bug coming around here when I was talking about being so bad. I think I got sick, but I like 2nd graders because they're, for the most part, they're pretty innocent. But germ wise, it freaks me out because they do stuff all the time, and I'm like, wash your hands, put your shoes on, things like that. Like I was. We do bathroom, if we do a class bathroom break, if there's too many, like we do 4 at a time in the bathroom, and we'll be waiting outside, like on the wall, and I'll like sit down, if you don't have to go, or sit down while you're waiting. And then when someone comes out, it's like, okay, it's your turn. Yeah. But it's one, I think it was a boy. I can't remember if it was a boy or girl. It actually could have been both. They started to call in, like on their hands and knees into the bathroom. I was like, stand up. And then I was like, go wash your hands immediately. I was like, that's disgusting. Oh, anyway.
Now you would think being with like the older kids that you wouldn't have to remind them or ask them, have you washed your hands? But I swear to God, about 50% of the boys, you come out bone dry hands. You're like, bro. And they're like, oh yeah, oops.
Well, at least it's not wet for another reason.
Well, yeah, one hopes not.
Our kids will come in and they're Mr. Bing, they're so-and-so peed on the floor. And I'm like, this was told to me, I think this week. And I was like, the kid made it sound like the other kid just pulled his pants on and just started peeing on the floor. It was like a couple drops got on the ground or something, But I'm just, like all the time I tell these kids, like, this is a big problem, a little problem. But then, I mean, I get it. Most of them are 8 years old now. But in my brain, I'm like, word choices or word usage is important. It's like how you use whatever words you use is important. You're misleading me here. You teach us.
Oh, go ahead.
What'd you say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I just realized as we were in the middle of this call here that April Fool's was on a weekend, which is very tragic for me, because Mr. Newman does like to taunt his students occasionally with a few. Have you ever got your kids good at any good April Fool's pranks?
No, like I like to do jokes and stuff, but I never like tried to prank my kids.
My favorite one, and it is probably better for older elementary, middle school. They wouldn't appreciate this. I think younger elementary would be traumatizing, but an April Fool spelling test is always and if you spell out the first letter of every word and end up spelling April Fool's Day. I did have tears in third grade one time, so I was like, maybe I should scale this back a little bit.
You're like, this is for 80% of your grade.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're like, this is your ELA grade for this quarter.
Yeah. If you don't pass this, you're repeating third grade.
If you can't spell, I don't know, pterodactyl correctly right now.
Yeah. Sucks to you.
Yeah, well, there's your F. Good luck explaining that one to mom. Oh, but it fell on a weekend this year, so I was like, well, I guess I got to be a good boy.
Yeah, that was the first one. I was now like, you gonna pull it back? Like you pull out your hat a week later?
Yeah, it's too late now. I gotta save it for another year.
So we have our principal gives out jeans passes as like a reward when we do stuff, which we roll our eyes at. But some of the teachers that were using it last week, like end of last week, because it expired April 1st, right? And I really texted, like we're in a group chat, right, with the teachers, and I was like, you should show up with jeans anyway on Monday, and then if they said anything, you say, well, it expired on April 1st. I thought that was your April Fool's joke of the year. Like there's no way this expired. Yeah, South Korea nonsense stuff going on in school. Like I gotta hope your students are a little bit more diligent than mine are.
Some of I think the parents, I wouldn't say the kids are any more good or bad in that sense, but again, more private school wise, these parents are like, if this kid doesn't get into Harvard, I'm going to kill him.
No pressure,
literally. So, now I don't know that they're necessarily more. They'll do it. They're just. I feel bad for these kids half the time because they do go to the school. I mean, fine, it's 8 to. They don't leave at 5. We leave at 5, but they basically are there from like 8 to 3:30 for classes, and they have like after school stuff at our school. Then they go to like after school academies until some of them till like 10 o'clock at night, and then they do their homework when they get home. So it's a whole other world in that sense.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, they have their kind of the Konglish expression for that. It is fighting, which is kind of like fighting, like, don't give up, you got this. But it's also like a little bit of desperation in that, like, fighting.
Hey, how do you say cheers in Korean?
Gunbae.
Gunbae?
Gunbae, Mr. Shoot.
All right, but it's like gun, not gung, right? It's like
yeah, bang 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 bay. Don't shoot your bay though. That's not really nice.
But it's not bang bang. It's just bang, right?
Yeah, gun bang.
All right, yeah. Hey, just a couple minutes, this may stop, and I'll just send another one back out to you, like a second one. Just
that's fine.
So that wraps it up for this part 1 edition of our guest from South Korea, Mr. Newman. Hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but we had to break it up for time constraints. Please tune in next week for the exciting conclusion of